Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. We're going to take a look here, of course, at Bitcoin, help understand best practice and big picture, and just, get you where you need to go, essentially, on your cryptocurrency trading journey, right? It's always an interesting, tumultuous journey, and I want to be there for you. So, obviously, if you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a website. Link in the description below. I offer discounts for military and third world countries, but basically provide you with a trading academy, community, and signal group. So it's a really awesome experience to be able to go ahead and have that at your back and essentially working with a lot of other professional traders. So really awesome experience there. Check it out in your own time. Taking a look here, of course, at Bitcoin. What we want to look at is the big picture. Big picture from yesterday, nice 10% correction to the upside. Finally happened, right? Now, it didn't break through any key level resistances, well, minus 19,800, of course, but that was kind of long gone as soon as it broke through and kept going. But what I'm getting at is this resistance level here at about 21,600. This is a key level that we want to pay attention to and understand that we might have some issues getting past that point. We've retested that level twice already in the last 24 hours, and while it's still a little premature and early, that would be a point that we need to make sure to close above to have any confidence in this continuation to the upside. So that's what I'm looking for confirmation. Hypothetically, the price action breaks above, comes back down to consolidate at 21.6. That'd be a great entry point. And that's a point in which we've talked about, and my community and I, we're all working really well together in the sense of helping understand that that is a key level resistance. I've been talking about that for a little while. Obviously, it's been some time since we've been back there, but what's nice is yesterday we took some massive profits on quite a few different trades. In fact, we had 3 different Bitcoin trades that we took profits on, and a couple of them are still open, and it's really just awesome to be able to kind of have a green day for a change, right? So congratulations to all my community members for that. Really happy for you, and of course, it's nice to kind of share in that success. But the bottom line here is that we're not out of the woods yet, but we are definitely doing much better than before. Now, it's not to say we couldn't still experience a correction to the downside. That could very well still happen. But the thing that we would need to understand is this initial descending trend is no longer valid. All right, so that's invalidated. Great news is we're no longer bearish on the short term. The more so long term, and we can probably confirm this with a GAN fan as well. In fact, let me go ahead and get some big picture for you here. You can see here, obviously this is only back in March, not including November, but you could pretty much extend it out and see the same story, right? So it's pretty much effectively the same thing. This descending trend that we're seeing is essentially, well, I wouldn't say it's broken because we don't have full-on confirmation, right? Just one trading day above a key level resistance doesn't necessarily give you that confirmation. But it does give us some confidence in knowing that we might be on the right side of the tracks. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at the GAN fan and kind of see roughly what this looks like here. And we can see, obviously, we're not quite yet back up above it, right? So again, GAN fan, it definitely, what it takes is it takes the most highest point and kind of draws out different angles, specific angles that are more consistent in trading, just like Fibonacci levels, and essentially kind of provides us with some guidelines. So we can see this ascending type of trend line that we're getting rejected on currently. So we get a rejection here, and we had a rejection, or more so tentative support, and broke to the downside beforehand. So again, at this point, we're kind of in this gray area, this little zone here where we can say that we have tentative confirmation that we're above key level resistances, but we're not there yet. Again, a clean close above 21,600 would be a very, very good thing. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so again, hypothetically, that's what we're looking for there. But what is great and positive in this sense here is we can see we're back up over 50 on the RSI. It's been a while since we've seen that, specifically on the daily. So what? Last time we were there was August 18th. It's been almost 3 weeks since that case, and that's when Bitcoin was making higher highs and higher lows, and then decided to dump for about 3 weeks straight. So hypothetically, we could be back on the uptrend and essentially be able to see some things here positively. All right, but the bottom line that I'm looking for here is, again, a closure above 21,600. That would give me more confidence to know we're on the right side of the tracks. Preferably, 2 or 3 closures above would be fantastic. Something along those lines to help us understand that we are on the right side of the tracks. And at this point, it's tentatively bullish, but how long is this going to continue? It's hard to say specifically. We got to get over some key level resistances, but we have covered some good ground so far. Okay, so mostly positive on the daily. We can also kind of reference a couple of things here too as well. Let's go ahead and just jump onto the monthly and kind of see. I'm particularly looking on the monthly for the simple moving averages, and we're still getting rejected there. You can kind of see right about 22,000-ish, right in that range, 22.5 roughly, which was a key level support previously, is now working as a resistance on the 50-day simple moving average on the monthly. So that the price action for Bitcoin has only ever been below the 50-day SMA two times. One time back, I think, when COVID hit, and of course here just recently today, or correction, last couple months. So in that sense, if we kind of look at the big picture here, we can see that we're below that resistance. It's not typically a great sign. So it doesn't give us that validation that we're on the right side. Okay, a monthly closure above 22.5 would be excellent. That's exactly what we're trying to look for, to give us that confirmation that we might actually be able to continue to make higher highs and higher lows on shorter time frames. All right, so let's go ahead and jump onto the 4 hour and kind of see what's going on here. We've got a few doji candles, which makes perfect sense considering the circumstances and how hard the price ramped up. According to TD sequential, we can see the price action hit a 9, and now we're getting that cool reset. So what I mean by cool reset is the fact that it's going mostly sideways, and I don't expect the price to dump immediately, at least not on the weekends. Unless there's some manipulation tomorrow, which we can never truly anticipate, 21,000 based on Fibonacci should work as a support level. That's essentially what we're seeing here. Key level resistance though, take a look at this. Right there at the 200-day simple moving average, rejecting the price action as well. So we got a lot of resistance at this 21.6 range. It's going to be a point of contention for the next few days. So once again, closure above would be fantastic. Taking a look at the RSI though, we are still overextended. So I'd like to see the price action continue sideways for another 24 to 48 hours and then allow for this RSI to slowly calm down and then to inevitably bounce off 50 for the next push up, the next leg up essentially. And that's why I always like to talk about healthy continuation patterns. And this is still very healthy because again, it's having time to consolidate. It's not going parabolic like Luna or Terra Classic, for example. I covered that one as well. And it's just interesting, the type of behavior that one has. While it's still running consistently, it has massive corrections, large candle wicks and candlesticks, and it's extremely volatile, right? If you want less volatility from Bitcoin, you want to have consistent ups and overs, so to speak, to give us that consolidation. That's kind of what we're looking for. So for the most part here, even though we are overextended on the 4 hour and we're getting that natural pullback based on TD sequential, I think we're still in pretty good shape here. I don't expect or feel like the price is just going to drop. There could be a point of contention here where the price action goes sideways for too long and then it drops. That's a very common characteristic for Bitcoin, to reject at specific levels. We've got a lot of rejection points at 21.6. So again, we got to recognize that it's going to take some time to get up above that. We might even test above it and then get rejected a few times. And we'd actually want that because the more often we test, the better off we're going to be. But with it being overextended, we want some sideways action to ensure it's healthy and continuing. All right, so taking a look at the 1 hour, we can see a very similar story here. Came up to a 9, got into some overtime, consolidation ever since. So we've got almost about 12 hours, 12 to 24 hours of consolidation. I prefer 48 hours in most cases, preferably even 72. But again, depending on how the doji candles are going to be closing on the daily, we want to pay attention to that, because if we get like a single or a double doji candle on the daily, that could signal a reversal, and those are typically signs that you want to kind of consider an opposing direction. Again, something to think about. We're not there yet, just kind of thinking out loud, right? Again, I like to kind of be constructive for my community members and make sure that we're all, in this together, essentially. And the more you know about Bitcoin, the better off you can navigate altcoins. That's just kind of the bottom line. All right, so that's kind of where we're at there for TD sequential. Last thing we want to take a look at is the cloud. And this is just kind of confirming that if you have a long position, you may want to consider taking profits because it's lost this momentous uptrend. You can see the conversion line is soon to intersect with the baseline. Not necessarily a bad thing. That's very standard for when a price becomes range bound. But on the same accord, we're still above the cloud. That's the most important thing. So if Bitcoin doesn't have a push up or loses the cloud at one point or another, say it trickles down and comes down, then we'd want to consider something, a different narrative, right? For now, though, the narrative is that the price action is going to go likely sideways, remain above the cloud, preferably at least within the cloud, and continue higher. Right? And it would be normal and natural for the price action to retrace itself from where it's at right now. It would not be a bad thing for the price to come down and kind of bounce off of this trend line and or, of course, the Ichimoku cloud. That's perfectly fine. That happens quite often. But we're pretty much in very good shape right now. It's just that, if the price went up much further right now, it'd be concerning because we didn't have enough time to consolidate. So I actually like what's happening here. It's cool to have this happen on a Friday, and then to come through and then to potentially have a nice push on Monday. Now I say potential because Mondays are oftentimes profit-taking days when Fridays are green, right? It's one of those natural kind of correction things. But what could be fantastic here is some of those previous resistance levels that we had work as support levels moving forward. So the key here is for the next low to essentially be higher than the previous low, right? We want to make sure we're higher than this most recent low. And that's the important thing. For a good continuation, we want to have that. We could also draw like a kind of a tentative trend line too and kind of see where that ends up. And as long as we stay along the lines of this ascending trend, we should also be in good shape. And what's cool about the ascending trends is they commonly work with the cloud. So oftentimes the cloud will naturally work itself into that type of ascending trend. So that's just something to kind of pay attention to. Again, all good stuff for the most part. I do not see anything that I do not like, but I can tell you that it's moving exactly the way it is, and it's really awesome to be able to take those profits yesterday too as well. Again, congrats to all my community members for cashing in on a really nice payload. We hit Ethereum, Solana, and Bitcoin, as well as a couple of other older Bitcoin trades. So awesome stuff with that 10x leverage, somewhere in the range of 30 to 50%. If you're not a current community member, consider joining CryptoCache.tech as a website. Link in the description below. I look forward to working with you. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you so much for your time. Take care.